No.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Board of Selectmen meeting Wednesday, September 4th, 2024, 6 p.m. in the meeting room at Seekonk Town Hall, Peck Street. Seekonk, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 20F requires any person recording must notify the chair at the beginning of the meeting. All Board of Selectmen meetings are recorded via audio and video. Anybody taping? Seeing no one. Call the regular meeting to order at 6 p.m. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could somebody read the board and committee openings, please?
Volunteers are needed on the following: Board of Registrars, 1 Board of Selectmen appointment; Capital Improvement Committee, 3 Board of Selectmen, 2 moderator; Commission on Disability, 5 of 13 Board of Selectmen; Cultural Council, 1 Board of Selectmen; Economic Development Committee, 5 Board of Selectmen; Energy Committee, 4 Board of Selectmen; Historical Commission, 2 Board of Selectmen; Parks and Recreation, 1 Board of Selectmen; Recycling Committee, 2 Board of Selectmen; Veterans Council, 1 Board of Selectmen; Zoning Board of Appeals, 1 alternate.
Thank you. Priority matters. Consider the conditional offer of employment to Nathan Silvera for the position of police officer.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Ms. Gideon. So over the past month, several candidates were interviewed for the position of an entry-level police officer. The first round of interviews, the panel was comprised of frontline supervisors. Candidates selected by this panel were given the opportunity to interview with the department's command staff and town administrator. Of the candidates who progressed to this second panel, one candidate, Nathan Silvera, rose to the top. Mr. Silvera attended University of Vermont, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in both psychology and criminal justice. Mr. Silvera currently plays professional soccer in Rhode Island and will be retiring at the end of this season. During his interview, Mr. Silvera set himself apart from the other applicants with his confidence and strong work ethic. His passion to become a police officer was evident, and the panel believed he would be a good addition to this department. It is for these reasons that I request, through Mr. Kadeem, that the board extend Nathan Silvera the conditional offer of employment for the position of police officer.
Madam Chair, my recommendation is as stated by the Deputy Chief.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, please?
Yep, move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Nathan Silvera to the position of full-time police officer for the police department, subject to and conditioned upon successful passage as determined by the town administrator of the following: completion of a satisfactory background check, physical examination with drug screening, psychological screening, execution of the recruit officer repayment agreement, MBTC physical fitness test, obtain and maintain a Massachusetts license to carry, fulfillment of all statutory requirements set forth by the Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission to become a certified law enforcement officer, successful verification of the National Decertification Index, successful passage of the Civil Service Physical Ability Test, completion and passage of an MPTC or approved ROC Police Academy.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't think you're gonna have any issue passing the running test.
Technically.
Oh,
Yeah, I still try to hold myself to a good fitness standard. So.
You decide to wait for the stadium to be built?
Yeah, I mean, we've no, it's not really a big deal for me. I knew what I wanted to do, and that was it. So.
Mr. Sullivan will take your side after. If you want to help out with youth soccer.
We can use some volunteers.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Accept the resignation of Zachary Brooks from the fire department.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Community speaks. Is there anybody from the community who would like to address us on? Okay, no. Nobody today? Maybe next time. General business, public hearing. Consider the proposal and adoption of an order to lay out the roadway Andrew Court in accordance with the as-built plan and legal description. I think to open the public hearing, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Can I have a motion to open the public hearing at 6:05 PM?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi.
I'm David Bray from Computer and Wick, and I have Gary Stallard with me from Stallard Family Trust.
Okay. We have it.
So the plan was submitted to both the Board of Selectmen and to the Planning Board. The Planning Board had a public hearing. They didn't have any comments during that process. I'm sure there's some notes from John Logan in your file at somewhere.
Is there anybody here to talk in favor of this? Of the layout for Andrew Court?
I'd be in favor.
What's that?
I'd be in favor.
Oh, would you?
Yeah, please.
You're a salad, aren't
I
you?
am.
You are.
I am.
Mr. Salad is a wonderful man.
Thank you. He was a good, still is a good guy, but not so much
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. I worked with him for many years.
Did you really?
Yeah. I was on the police department and he was always there.
He just turned 93 and he's
Really? Excellent.
hanging on, but not by a thread.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people in this town that really loved your father.
Thank you very much.
They did. Is there anybody here to speak against the layout of the roadway Andrew Court? Okay, I guess, does the board members have anything they would like to? The public hearing, your public, everything looks fine to me?
I believe this is one of those developments down that list for a while, and I think they met all the requirements according to the planning board. John's recommendation is to approve it, so I'm ready to approve it.
Yeah, I think they had one recommendation, or there was just one thing that was on their list, but aside from that, as long as everything was in compliance.
Okay, can I get a motion at 6:07 to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Public hearing is closed. We have to take a vote on this? Just-
Yes, we have.
Motion?
I make a motion that we approve the layout of the roadway known as Air Dry Court in accordance with the as-built plan and legal description.
Can I get a second? Second. You. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening.
You too. Okay, review and discuss proposed employee handbook for 30-minute review. And I put it on 30 minutes, just so people will know, this is an employee handbook that was made up, not made up, but put together, yeah, wrong words. Put together by our town administrator and our assistant town administrator, and it has taken some time because of getting things all together, double checking them, bringing them over to the, to legal and having them look at it and coming back and forth. This has been quite the process. So the board has received these, this employee handbook to review and see if there's any types of questions or anything. Some of the members have already gotten back to Ms. Stays concerning just some questions and about some of this. We're gonna see if we can see how far we can get through this. I only allocated 30 minutes, so it's 30 minutes or less. I'm not gonna go any longer than that. I don't know how long it's gonna take, so this is one way to get working on it and get it done. You've done all the hard work already, but maybe some of the board members have some questions that they would like to ask that you haven't already been asked, okay? So I'm gonna go, if everybody can follow me, I'm gonna go through it from the beginning, see how far we can get. Stop me if you have anything you wanna ask Ms. Days or Mr. Kadim. So the introduction is the introduction, of course. Is everybody,
Can I make one comment?
comment?
In various parts of this, we say Board of Selectmen and we say Select Board. I say consistent throughout it. I don't know. I guess we're still officially the Board of Selectmen per the charter, so maybe we should go with that throughout this, seeing as how these are
I agree.
policies that,
Until we go through the process to get it done legally, it should be done.
I would agree.
And that,
Just to be consistent with the document.
and that was brought to my attention pretty early on. We didn't want to reprint them for you, but that's an easy go
Sure.
through. But yeah, I think that's just from merging everything. You know, we tried to, anything that was brand new, it looks like we put select board and then the things that had board of selectmen. So we'll just make sure it's consistent throughout the document.
Yeah. Are we good with that? I'm gonna keep going. Okay, employment designation and employment categories. Did anybody mark anything on there? That they
I did
want
send an
to?
email out this morning for this.
A lot of your corrections
Just so.
had to do with,
Yeah,
grammatical
I
stuff.
forgot to include.
That's okay.
No, it's okay.
It was forwarded, yeah, it was
Okay,
forwarded
good.
to me, so
Okay.
I already went through the document with, because it was a lot of grammatical things missed.
Yep.
So most of them were fixed. I think, Sean, there was just one that probably should be proposed to the board. So like I said, I definitely won't go through all of them, because they were grammatical errors, like a missing comma, something wasn't bulleted properly, it was kind of formatting. The only one I guess I was just gonna throw back to the board. There was a question about, are you okay with me saying it's on page 7, or do you wanna wait until we get there?
No, that's all right. We're almost on page 7 anyway.
So page 7, it's the expectant and new mothers. So the only suggestion was to potentially change from undue hardship on the employer, which is the second to last. That language is directly from the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act in Massachusetts. That's part of the reason. I'll be honest, from a legal standpoint, I don't think it matters if it's changed from employer to town. If you want it to just stay consistent with what's in the act, that's the exact verbiage pulled from the act. So that's really up to the board. That was the only one that I just kind of left for you to decide.
Yeah, I brought that one up only because I saw undue hardship on the town thing of it, so I just thought it should be consistent, but if you're saying that that's how it came, I don't really care either way. That's
Okay.
why I kind of had a question mark on it.
Yeah, and like I said, that was the only one. I don't necessarily think it would be anything detrimental if it's changed from employer to town, if you want it to remain consistent. I think the only reason it probably doesn't look consistent is this is actually our language for Americans with Disabilities Act versus this is just language pulled verbatim from the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act.
Okay. I say leave it as employer.
I would too.
Okay.
I would do.
Okay, Ms. Days, I have a question while we're on the same page.
Mhm.
And it was actually on the section below with commitment to diversity. On the next to last line, you have a sentence that begins with, the commitment is embodied in company policy. We looked like that might have.
Oh, I see. Yep, I see.
Do you want to convert that to town policy?
I can. Yep.
Thank you.
Can we go back to page 6 real quick?
Of course.
At the top, it says employee designations are individual employment, individual employment contract, collective bargaining agreement, or at will. So it's seasonal intermittent positions, is that considered at will? It is, okay.
Is that on your list or not?
Oh, no,
Oh, no.
I
Okay.
forgot to ask that.
Okay. Everybody good with page 6 and 7?
Yeah.
Okay, on page 8, we have the harassment policy. Page 9 is the extension of the harassment. Page 10 is the harassment complaint procedure. Like I said, stop me if you got anything. Page 11 has to do with disciplinary action, state and federal remedies, whistleblower policy. Page 12 is an extension of the whistleblower policy.
Stays question on this page. At the bottom, you have the two bullets. There has the town administrator, assistant town administrator. It seems to be that the department head of the department should be a third bullet.
Yes, Mrs. Posey, actually, that was one of the corrections that have already been made.
Okay.
And you may find more of that, so just point it out if it is a formatting issue. I think when we were trying to keep policies together and creating pages, you're gonna see a bit of that, so just point it out so that I can mark it up. I have the active document open, so I can make the edits as we go through.
Thank you.
Page 13, employee standards, conflict of interest, code of conduct. And code of ethics. Under code of conduct, under the bullets, where you put town administrator / assistant town administrator, you didn't put the human resource director designation after that.
Okay.
Should you? I think you should, because that's your title.
I just wanna make sure we're under code of conduct, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Under the bullets, the next paragraph.
Yeah.
Just you didn't extend your title out to human resource director. Thank you. Code of ethics.
That's gonna look weird. It's town administrator / assistant town administrator.
So I put
Well,
assistant
she
town
can-
administrator and human resource
Yeah.
director, so I don't
Yeah.
have a slash and a slash.
Yeah,
Right.
because that still covers you if you were to separate the positions at some point in time.
Yeah, but-
Change it.
You should,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's good to know that.
Yeah.
Because there's this flexibility.
Code of ethics is the next, which goes over into page 14, and confidentiality. Employment relationship on page 15, employment verification policy. The only thing I marked on here was, if you looked at the employment verification policy, part of the sentence, second line, or official shall direct such inquiry to the town administrator's office for an official town response. What do you say about putting or human resource director to add on to that? Is that
We
something
can, because
no?
that's our current practice. Right now, they'll kind of email, myself, Sean, and Chris Testa, so that nobody misses it. So we can put, agree to the town. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Under
I think
page
because I put
15.
town administrator's office, I thought it was kind of encompassing that, but we could
Oh.
put,
Well, that's all right. If that's the thought behind, no, that's fine.
okay.
That's fine. Don't worry about it then. That'd be cool. Just wanted to question that. Final payment to exiting town employees, which goes over on to page 16. Job abandonment policy. Overtime policy. Payroll on page 17 has to do with payroll deductions. I just have a question on your deduction and description. The state income tax withholding says for tax year 2022. Is that still up to date?
I will double check that. I did send this to the treasurer's office, but I'll be honest, not sure when, because we worked on it for so long.
No,
So
I know.
I will make sure, and I was gonna say those deductions, obviously, that would be somewhat fluid. We try to keep that up to date. So that is outside of, let's say, the board of selectmen, so I will make sure that it's up to date annually. But I will double check that just to make sure that we're still accurate.
Okay, payroll deductions, voluntary salary increases, that's on page 17. Everybody's good? Performance evaluation, professional development and training policy, promotional policy. Recruitment and selection of employees, resignation policy.
I have a question on that one. So is 30 days like a typical municipal time to give when you're like leaving? I mean, in the regular industry.
That's on page 19.
Non-municipal industry, usually when you're leaving, you give somebody a 2-week notice. 30 days, like a typical.
So we ask for 30 days, but typically we get 2 weeks, depending on whether or not they're moving on to another job. So, but we're just looking to get the 30 days.
Okay.
And I will say, I think 30 days, believe it or not, actually is standard because of the process for hiring for other municipalities. Kind of like us, you might have to wait 2 weeks to get on a board of selectmen agenda. So sometimes 30 days is doable, sometimes it's not. But it also covers us because it says unless it's covered by another contract. You know, I think like mine says 60 days, I want to say. So each one is kind of unique.
Okay, yeah. Page 20, also continues the resignation policy. Oh, actually, I had something on that, which considers the period of 30 days, because by 5 days is on page 16 on the job abandonment.
Say that again.
Okay,
That's the difference of whether you're given a notice versus just not
You
showing
just
up.
stop showing up. Is that, oh, okay, is that
all
the
right,
question?
yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, moving on to retirement procedures. Anybody want to know about that? I can tell you. Town property and security camera policy, which also extends on to page 21. Workplace policies and procedures, absence,
You missed unemployment policy on page 21.
unemployment policy, on page 21. Page 22, workplace policies and procedures, absence of town administrator, attendance policy, which goes over to page 23, which has to do with tardiness, disciplinary action, job abandonment again. Page 24, business usage of social networking policy and the guidelines. Page 25, monitoring credit card
I
policy.
have one comment, the last statement in the monitoring about the town administrator reserves the right to make limited exceptions to this policy. Is this the monitoring policy, the guidelines, or this whole social networking? Whole social networking policy?
Page 25.
25,
Right in the middle.
above the credit card policy, that last
That
line.
last line.
I'm assuming we're referring to the whole social networking
Yeah, the whole
policy?
social, right? In case there's any changes, either law or just use of new social media that comes up.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like,
Right.
what would be the reasons? I mean, there's a lot explained here, it's a lot. I couldn't think of what could possibly.
Not covered.
What would be covered and not, what would be an exception? But
I
okay,
think,
so
I
it's
think
the
the
whole
only,
policy.
yeah, and I think the only exception would be, to Sean's point, if there starts to be, you know, especially with social media now, they're starting to try and make legislation to kind of control some of that. I think that's probably where you might see a change that's outside of our control.
Yeah, but this is the only policy that I could see that that type of statement was made, so I was just kind of curious as to why.
But I will say, because I think how you ask the question raises a different question, right? Which should be, when you can say, when the reference is to this policy, maybe just say to the social network policy. You asked if there was a particular section,
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Yep,
relative to if the,
So you
refer
wanted
to
to
it as
say,
the whole.
as the whole.
just kind of like rename the policy unit so
Yes.
that there's no.
Right.
Just at that last line.
Well, say make limited exceptions to this social networking policy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that there's no confusion, because I think that's the way you asked the question.
Yeah.
I can see how somebody else would also say, well, you all said it comes right after monitoring,
Right, right.
right? So,
Right in the middle of the page.
Yeah, I already
Okay.
changed it here.
Yeah, I know, I saw you.
I'm making notes here so I
Yeah.
can double check that I
That's
marked
fine.
everything.
Okay, page 25 also has the credit card policy on it, which goes over to page 26. How do you spell accounting? I did look that up. Is it?
What are we spelling? I didn't hear it.
No,
Accounting or accountant?
either one.
A-C-C-O-U-N-T-I-N-G. I didn't know this would be a spelling bee, but I'm happy to continue.
Don't just be still over there.
Say it, spell it, and then
I have it marked and I was
Is it-
gonna check the spelling.
I'll be honest, I can't find it right now. That's why I'm trying to, is it on the credit card policy?
Page 26, one paragraph.
26, fourth paragraph.
I think it's something I wanted to
Twelve
look up and I didn't.
I'll say Word isn't finding anything, so I think it's all spelled correctly.
No, it looks right to me.
Yeah, I
Yes,
have it.
looks correct.
No, it was just my spelling that was going wookie. Okay, moving on. Page 26, criminal offender record information, Corey policy. We have that. Goes over to page 27. Just a grammatical, did you catch it under the second paragraph? Next to the last line, C-O-R-I, it says I, C-O-R-I.
So it is iCori. It's the system that's used.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know it looks weird that it looks different, but I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the system that you actually go into to verify the Cory is called iCori, I think.
Okay. Page 27, page 20 goes over to page 28. Page 29, delegation of authority policy and disciplinary action policy. To catch the spelling of from, first paragraph, next to the last line, from any system used to back up the information. Top of the page.
Are we at the disciplinary action?
No, up,
Yeah.
Oh,
right
I'm
up to
sorry.
the top.
Oh, okay.
It just
Above
says
delegation.
form instead of from. On the right.
Got it.
So then should Corey be with this capital I on that one?
So see Corey above
Oh,
that,
yeah, I do see it. Yep.
whatever the right one's supposed to be. The
Yeah,
correct
it
one.
probably was just a
Yeah.
caps lock thing.
Okay, then disciplinary action policy.
No, I'm good.
Under disciplinary action policy, I just added a word. Second paragraph, second line from the bottom of that, some circumstances may warrant that the town terminate an employee immediately. Should that may be stuck in there? It says some circumstances warrant that the town terminate an employee immediately, and thus not follow the steps noted above.
No, I think it's saying some circumstances.
Warrant, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yep. Okay, go right over to page 30, which has the disciplinary action policy continued. Page 31, employee appearance and dress code. Employee fraternization policy. Got it right. Everybody good? I'm going. Page 32 continues that fraternization policy and starts with dispute resolution. And then page 34, outside employment policy.
Skip 30.
Skip 33. Mine goes 32, 34. 31, 32, 34.
Flip it over, it's 33.
Dun-dun-dun.
Was it backwards?
They stapled it wrong.
Page 33. It's not even.
No, that was Michelle. That was Michelle.
That was me. Okay, page 33, internal investigations, monthly activity reports, and nepotism policy. Page 34 continues nepotism and outside employment policy, performance improvement plan, PIP process. Page 35, continuation and personnel records policy. Page 36, personal social networking policy. Just page 36, right at the bottom, Caroline.
Mhm.
Above the last bullet point.
Yep.
Governmental body regarding a subject within its jurisdiction. In is also there on the right side of that page. See that?
Yep.
Page 37, return of town property policy, telecommunication systems policy. 38, we have the extension of telecommunication systems policy. Page 38, towards the bottom, the very end of the examples of inappropriate use. Any employee who violates this policy or uses the town's telecommunication system for improper purposes shall be subject to discipline up to including discharge. Should that be termination?
Yeah, I think that was actually legal, but we'll change it in including termination.
Okay, that continues over to page 39 and starts with travel and conference costs. Which continues over to page 40. Right at the top here, that line that says the following expenses may be reimbursable.
So that was
Oh, yeah, Mrs. Posey found that too. We noticed, I had Sean double check it, because I went back and we couldn't find anything separate. So that language, the following expenses may be reimbursable. I already moved it, but obviously we're working on the same document. It's actually in front of all of the bulleted or bolded points. So meals and miscellaneous expenses.
Where are you, hon?
I don't know actually, because I have the same issue you're
Page
having.
39?
Yeah,
Yeah.
conference approval and registration fees,
Okay.
travel expenses, lodging. So we moved it above all of that. We're not sure.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I had
I
him
see.
double check. 'Cause I'm like, is this how you see this? This is just in the wrong place.
Right.
And these all are gonna be like bulleted underneath it?
So they're all,
Or
they stayed bold. So basically, that one sentence, the following expenses may be reimbursable, was going to start right after that first sentence. But we can, if it's, let me just see. I think the only reason is because they give explanations, but they can be
Right.
bulleted too, bulleted
Or-
in bold.
I like, bold's fine as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, yeah.
But I just,
Yeah,
that makes sense
The
that it was
bullets
just,
are
it was
usually
in the
shorter.
wrong,
Yeah.
it was
The
kind of in the
sentence
wrong
is in the
spot.
wrong spot.
Yeah,
Right, you
yeah.
just relocate the sentence.
Yep.
Page 41, municipal practices and procedures, select board agenda items. Under item, you have no, I put numbers beside the bullets. I'm not sure, page 41.
Should this belong in like a separate procedure?
Well,
This
that's
whole
why,
thing about the municipal practices and procedures.
well, it's in the whole handbook, so everybody has it.
Yeah, but like, would everybody that's on committees and everything get?
Well, they have it in the board and committee handbook. This is for, I think, unless, let me just make sure, it's for department heads to request items to go on the agenda, I think. But yes, there's, actually, now that we're saying it, I don't know that there's anything in the board and committee handbook specifically requesting for an item to be put on the select board agenda, because it's really how they run their meetings.
Mm.
But this is, this was an administrative policy, so the department heads knew how to request an item to be placed on the agenda. I just don't think that it had as much information as it currently has, like, at least now we have kind of a deadline, so they know when they should get their request in.
Okay, so the bolded ones under policy is not really considered, it looked to me like to be considered as steps, like step 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
But you just have it bulleted, I just put numbers by it, but it's not necessarily, you know what I'm thinking? You know what
Yeah,
I'm
no,
saying?
I would say, again, I think that's up to the board. If it looks like it's somewhat, lacking clarity and you think it needs to kind of, doesn't matter.
Did anybody else note that? Oh, no. Just me? Just me? Just me? Okay, never mind. It's just me.
So leave it as
Leave
like
it.
bullets?
Yep. Inspection fees, open meeting law policy, posting meetings policy, public records request policy on page 42. 43 is purchasing policy. And surplus property disposition policy. Page 44 continues that, and town council opinions policy. The only thing I've noted there, and probably be under you, Mr. Kadim, the last paragraph on page 44. In the event of an emergency where the need for legal assistance is immediate, the requester shall first contact the town administrator. It says of their intent, I put with their concerns. You guys want to read that and see what you think? Or do you think that doesn't?
You could do either. Of their intent or.
Yeah, their intent is to reach out to legal counsel, they just need Sean's permission. If they have a pressing issue, their intent is to get legal counsel on board as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Or they're concerned,
Legal-
either one works, either one works.
Or legal requests. Is that
with their,
legal concern or requests?
I would say, request. I wouldn't say concern.
Are we good with that?
Because they're going to you with a legal request, right?
Intended request?
with their
Intended
legal,
request, everyone, I just think you concern is a different,
Yeah.
opens it up differently.
with their
May
legal,
not be a concern.
legal request.
Intended request?
That's all under intent.
I don't need to laugh, but I'm making notes, I keep hearing.
Just
legal
wait,
request,
just
intended
wait.
request, legal request.
Don't wait,
intended request.
until we're done talking, don't write.
Um,
So what do we think? With their legal request, with their legal, I don't like legal intent, but that's just me. With their concerns, whatever.
I get what you're, because a lot of times it's a question.
Yeah,
It's a
right.
question for legal,
I would say legal request with their legal request.
I'm good with that. Everybody else good with that? Sure. Everybody said sure with their legal request. Page 45,
Sold.
you good? Okay, page 46, workplace safety, alcohol and drug-free workplace policy, employee safety policy.
I have a question on this one. The next to last paragraph almost seems like it belongs in the town vehicle usage policy.
are we in the
Maybe it is.
employee safety
Yeah.
policy? Okay,
It says all employees who operate a town-owned vehicle must have a valid driver's license.
What was,
It's talking about vehicle.
yeah, I know, but what did you say before
Oh,
that?
I said, I think it might belong in the vehicle usage policy?
Oh, maybe they,
It's probably is.
yeah, it might be,
This
probably
is just part of this. one.
Yeah.
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 Probably there too, because I think a couple places says license.
I don't,
It may be duplicated, but I think it's just
because it's
Safety.
employee safety. Let me just see for the heck of it, if
next
legal made note of it.
Well, she's
So
looking
they're
at,
saying, so the safety is because they need to wear a seatbelt and have a valid driver's license?
Yeah, and I was just checking to see if maybe legal caught it and thought it was somewhat duplicating, but he didn't really make any notation about that particular paragraph.
okay, just to stay true to my word, we've done 30 minutes on this. Now, do you want to finish this or do you want to continue it to next meeting?
I think we should just keep going through this document.
More than halfway?
I mean, yes, we're definitely more than halfway. It's gone pretty fast.
We could probably be done in 20 minutes.
Caroline, you good with that?
20 minutes, let's go.
I talk fast. Are you good with that?
Of course, I'm good with it, yeah.
Chris?
I'm good.
We're
Yeah,
good?
let's get it done.
Okay, we're gonna go on then. Page 47, can we go on even though it says here 30-minute review? Okay, good. I just said
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There we go. Page 47, motor vehicle driving record policy, which goes over to page 48 and goes into smoke and vape-free workplace policy. The only note I put is the very first line of smoke and vape-free workplace policy where it says there will be no smoking in any town building no smoking or vaping.
Okay.
I know that's policy, but. Okay, the next is town vehicle usage policy. Which goes over to page 49, which has to do with cell phones, cleanliness, reporting accidents, and over to page 50, continues over there, and we go into weather and emergency events policy and workplace violence prevention policy.
And just in case anybody did catch it, there was one that Mrs. Posey found for the weather and emergency events that I think it said department, but it should have said department heads, which has
I
been
wrote that down
corrected.
too. Okay,
She did find it and that has been corrected.
yep, good. Get that locked down. Workplace violence prevention policy, which goes over to page 51. Page 52, leaves of absent, bereavement leave policy, court jury duty policy, domestic violence leave policy, which goes on to page 53. And over to page 54, which goes into Family Medical Leave Act, FMLA leave. Family and medical leave definitions, which goes over to page 55. And goes to eligibility. The bullet points on page 55 under serious health condition.
Yep.
The third bullet point, the last letters, words there is incurable.
Oh, I see, yep.
Okay, going over to page 56, military family leave entitlements. Page 57, procedure, certification. Goes over to page 58, intermittent leave, reduced schedule, paid leave and medical benefits, which goes over to page 59, restoration to position and denial, which goes over to page 60. The only question I had on page 60, before we get to flex time policy, is the bullet points, the third one, key employee status. Top of the page.
Yeah, I'm just going back to make sure that I don't, oh, we're still under FMLA. That is a federal term. We actually, it's on the documentation. We have to notate, this is again, not my policy.
Yeah.
But on the documentation that we provide them, we actually have to tell them whether or not they're considered a key employee because we have the right to, or we reserve the right to not return them to work if they're not a key employee. All of our employees, I either do not leave it. The only ones I actually will put key employee is public safety. It's unfortunately just part of their policy. They have, because it's for the private sector too, so I guess they reserve the right to not return someone to work following family and medical leave. So they have to designate that on the form.
Huh.
It's a little bizarre and it's somewhat confusing to our employees,
Yeah.
which is why I either leave it blank so that it doesn't confuse them. Public safety is the only one that I would say, that I put it so that there's no confusion that.
Okay. Curious.
Can we go back, just real quick, back to 56, I saw another typo.
56.
Yeah, the top of 56, second bullet, all those bullets are begin with lowercase letters. Should be low.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Back to page 60. Flex time policy, holidays, over to 61, military leave policy, which goes into page 62, eligibility procedure reemployment, which goes over to 63, application for reemployment, exceptions to reemployment, which goes over to page 64, general benefits upon reemployment, modified duty policy, which goes over to 65, parental leave policy. Page 66, personal leave, sick leave policy. sick leave procedure, Small Necessities Leave Act on page 67. 68, vacation leave procedure, workers' compensation policy. Page 69, benefits, employee assistance program, employee benefits. 70 is blank. 71 has the application for reemployment after military service. Page 72 has physicians released to return to work form. Page 73 has Small Necessities Leave Act employee certification. And page 74, employee acknowledgement, which is acknowledgement of receiving this fabulous document. Thank you. Thank you. That wasn't bad, 30 minutes. So,
Make a motion to approve with the changes.
Second?
hey, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. If anything comes up, just let us know. That's all.
Yeah, if there's anything outside of what was discussed, like I said, with I'll go through and make sure that it's consistent throughout with Board of Selectmen. But if I need any clarification as I go through it, I'll
Yeah.
make sure I bring it to your attention first.
But now it's done, and I know this was a lot of work and took a long time, so. Did you say this has been approved already from, legal?
Yes.
Legal.
I think
went through
most
it
of the
and-
changes that we have on, I don't think, and this
No,
is just me, I don't think it's anything to bring up to legal, but you
Yeah,
guys
no,
decide on that.
So I actually have the document I've been working on. I have all the notes from legal, just in case you did have a question about something.
Yeah.
His reason behind it. We actually did remove some policies at the recommendation of legal, which I was surprised about. So
Yeah.
they did a really good job going through it, but I did keep the notes up just in case there was something I couldn't answer, because he did make some edits to the document, but.
But just in your employment too, as things change, we don't have to change the whole document. You can come back to us and say some legal thing comes up, some new law or something, and then we can, just come before us, get it approved, and
And we should be at
I
that,
think,
we should be able to do the individual policies at that point, because most of these were administrative policies that we kind of converged into this one document, so that we don't have employees going to personnel bylaws,
Right.
looking for, benefit information, how they get paid. So, if there is a change, we can bring it policy by policy at least.
right. And could you make sure that there's a page or something here or somewhere around here, maybe even in front, that it says approved by
It's
the board,
it
of
should be,
Select- with the date on it?
on the
so that
very first,
when
so
people-
it's under the, I guess it's technically under the cover, approved and when it will be made effective.
Okay, good. Well, that way, when people want to review it, that's the way they'll know when it was approved by the board, and then say whenever 5 years can be reviewed or something, so we have that documented on the piece itself.
Okay,
All right.
Hold on.
Whoop, go ahead.
Wait, now, question about this, now that it's been approved, aside from new employees receiving this right out of the gate, we have a bunch of existing employees. Is there a plan to implement, or at least make sure that they get a copy, have reviewed it?
Yep.
Send it back to you, all of that?
So luckily, because we have, Bamboo HR,
Yep.
which allows us to upload documents that they can see, so they get it in digital form. We can also have them sign it, kind of like a DocuSign. They can go through and we can have them sign the acknowledgement so that we don't have department heads chasing them down.
Yep.
The only thing I do separately and different outside of Bamboo is for DPW, only because most of them do not have town emails.
Okay.
So I usually provide physical copies so that Dave Cabral and Jim Halpin can go through the department and make sure that they get a physical copy, because they just don't have the town email, so they might not check Bamboo. But other than that, we make sure that anybody who may not have direct access to employee email, they get a physical copy, everybody else gets administered right to Bamboo. And then we can track their progress, we can see that they've reviewed it and things like that.
Once the document's done, can we put a timeline on when they start to sign, 30 days?
Sure.
So we're not sitting around waiting 45 days for some employees to sign this document.
And then I can just run a report, and anybody that might be missing or coming from, I usually can either send a reminder right through the system, or at that point, I kind of work with the department head and say, here's who we have outstanding, because we inevitably are gonna have people who are out on extended leave. So I always try to give them a list and say, here's who are missing, but here's why they're out on military leave, IOD, something like that, so that we know we're not chasing people that are just not here.
Very good.
I would say that if you know that somebody's out on leave and you can easily contact them to send them with their personal email or something like that, you know.
So we
The
have
military leave, I would say no, we
Yeah.
can leave those folks alone until they come back.
Some people check it. We
Yeah.
do have even people who are on extended leave. They get the notification through
Yeah.
Bamboo. It's more so that we don't wanna hound them or chase them down.
Right.
Realistically, we don't know if they're coming back, right? So ideally, it's not their responsibility
Yeah.
at that point, but.
Okay. All right.
Anything else? We're good?
Is everybody good? Everybody good? Chris? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Thank
work.
you for all the hard work. That's incredible.
Can't
We
believe it's
do.
finally done.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel real.
Okay, C, if the board doesn't mind, we do not have the open session minutes for August 7th, so that will be continued probably till in 2 weeks, next meeting. Other business, discuss other topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair 48 hours before the meeting, and I have none. Town administrators report, start with DPW building committee.
So we had a building committee meeting today at 4:30, just getting some updates and approvals. So the Faust updates are due September 11th, and then the general contractor deadline is September 25th. Just speaking in terms of the special election, so we had targeted November 25th, I believe, which is the Monday after town meeting. So I want to try to get that on the board's agenda for September 18th to review the ballot question and schedule the town special election. Before I do that, I just want to do the town for the 25th. So, but right now it's schedule that we have.
Okay, but you'll know the rest of that by
Yep.
the next meeting.
And again, just as a reminder, because it was over $10 million, everybody needed to get all the file subbids and the general contractors pre-qualified, so we know what our universe is for potential bidders. Now, whether or not they submit bids, that's a different question. But according to the OPM, there's been a lot of questions coming back and forth from file subs and the DC, so he's anticipating it's a good turnout for bids.
Vacant municipal buildings?
So this was at your request. I did include that for the board. So I know it was only vacant buildings, but I did include the property that we have for tax title. So all the foreclosure counts you have up above, and then if you go all the way down below for the vacant buildings, we do have 4, which is the old town hall, Taunton Ave. We've got the old school admin building, School Street, the old animal shelter, and then the County Street Fire Station.
And right now, as far as you know, we don't have any plans for these buildings or these addresses, right?
Correct. There are no plans, but we did get the authorization to sell the old town hall.
Did you get that?
No.
No.
County Street.
No, the order was about to bid.
No.
Old actually, Old Town Hall was the one we had, I'm gonna see Mr. Alice back here.
It's the police
Discussion
station.
that group. There
During COVID.
was a pending discussion. They all walked through and built plans, and there's been a couple of iterations here. It is not, they have not been brought back for.
No, we've already got approval to sell it.
To dispose of it.
Yeah, we don't need to go back.
I don't know.
No,
You don't think so? No, that's the old police station up the street.
it's been a
No.
long, it's been a discussion now, as part of the debate, was what do we do with Old Town Hall? Do we dispose of it, or do we, there was this conversation about what they were gonna do.
Was that on the list
Project
of
makes
discussions we had at town meeting that night?
Yeah, but
Because we got rid
it,
of that piece of property there, the Holland Street.
Right.
We kept County Street.
yeah,
Was
kept-
it the old,
I thought the old town hall was on.
No,
was
it's
the
not.
project.
no.
No, we gotta bring that back.
I-
And I just gotta double check with KP, because I know we've already gotten the original to sell, so I don't know that we need a second vote to dispose of it, but
I don't think, well, just,
because
from my
we sold it to
opinion-
the tribe, and then we took it.
no, we didn't sell it. We were going to lease it to the tribe.
Now we sold,
Sold it for down.
I think $50.
Mr. Alves, do you remember?
We went out to bid.
But I don't remember if that was,
$50.
John, you have something to attribute to this conversation?
In town hall anyways, at the public hearing for the Community Preservation Committee, John Morgan presented a list of things that may be of interest to the Community Preservation Committee. One being the town hall. He was indicating that they wanted to do a architectural or another survey to determine the health of the building. Now, I don't know if, they are gonna proceed with that, but John Hogan at the Community Preservation Committee public hearing spoke about it as to one of the things that may be of interest to the Community Preservation Committee funding.
And if I recall correctly, this was all running parallel at the same time when we were also discussing and negotiating the Madeira's farm and getting close to the closing on that. And they had already come forward once, but I guess there was still more left on that discussion. We never did bring them back. That was
That was right during COVID. Yeah.
it was just after COVID, but like we're like right in that window, so I think it's probably been a good year plus that it's still been sitting out there. I know Dave Sullivan, I think, sat on that committee as well. There's a couple other people, and so it may be worth just kind of touching base with them. Don't get me wrong, I have my own feelings on what we should do at Old Town Hall, but that aside, I think it's worth bringing that committee back in again, just so that we've got a new group around here.
They've been abandoned. So I went back, because I remember seeing one of the meetings, I went back to the meeting minutes, Board of Selectmen meeting from October 12th, 2022, where Mr. Alves and Mr. Sullivan were here, and they were members of the committee. During that meeting, there was a joint meeting where they discussed the building. It said it was built in 1865. There's a lot of reasons for its historical significance to keep it. And there was an approval by the board that night to move forward with a feasibility study. Also that night, there was permission to disband that committee.
Okay.
So I don't think the committee exists anymore. They
Okay,
were
thank
abandoned
you.
at that
Yeah, I
meeting.
forgot about that. Yeah. So,
So I guess whether or not the town hall was on the warrant article that you were mentioning, town meeting had already given the board of selectmen the authority to sell that, transfer that over to the tribe. They had it, yeah.
You don't have to
They had
know
it,
what
they had
meeting was with you,
it.
which town meeting that was.
I know, I could get it, but we took it back. They actually gave it back. So now the question is whether or not we would have to go back to town
You have
meeting.
to get back. I see your point.
Yeah.
So Tony gives approval to sell it to the tribe,
Correct.
but through a Tony vote, and they turn it back to us. Now we own it.
Yeah.
My opinion, the old town hall and County Street Fire Station need to go.
That's,
I disagree.
I disagree on what, not that part, but I disagree with what you're saying, because I remember that the tribe had come back because they needed to own the building in order to get the grant. I was on the board then, and I said to them, that's not what you told us when you first came here. We didn't have a P&S agreement with them. We had a lease agreement with them for $1, not a purchase and sales agreement. But we had to fight to get out of that because they weren't cooperating with us and we weren't gonna do what they said. We went back and forth. But it was not it was not a P&S agreement. It was a lease agreement. And I do not believe that town meeting ever gave us permission to sell it. Lease it, yes, sell it, no. That's my recollection.
In the
I'll go back. I know this. I know
Well,
this-
she just said that last meeting was October of 2022, so at the meeting before that.
so
And I'm not arguing with your,
I agree with Mr. Healy. I was for a long time now, been on I think it's time to sell the Old Town Hall property in the County Street. But I think it's worth making sure that, to Hines' point, making sure that we just have that define as to whether or not it was up for sale or a lease, but
But the County Street Fire Station, that did go up. I don't remember which town.
It was
meeting
voted
but
down.
That was voted down.
yeah,
So,
the County Street. I'm not sure why we have it.
Neither do I. Shouldn't have had it at the last meeting.
People have different opinions, and I have a different opinion. Anyway.
Which is
Okay.
good, but what's the opinion to keep it?
Well, the
If you
thing
can-
is, if you don't need to sell a property that the town owns, there's no need to sell it. So we have a, fire station that the town voted down for School Street, yet we still have a communications department that is in a closet that needs space. So my thought in the back of my head was that maybe the property that the town owns can build a building for the communications department that will take them out of the public safety building and put them in their own building, seeing as we didn't get permission for the building on School Street, so we could put them over there and get them more space. So that would not only give them more space, say, my thought is 624 Taunton Avenue, because it's a central location to everything. And then maybe if we designed a smaller fire station for School Street, that would pass. That's my thought.
The animal shelter, and perfect service.
For what?
Communications.
Have you walked into that animal shelter?
Well, if you,
Have you walked into the animal shelter?
yeah, but you can destroy the building and keep the footprint. A lot cheaper than renovating the County Street Fire
Oh,
Station.
Oh, I'm not talking County Street, I'm talking 624 Taunton Avenue, and I'm not saying renovate that, I'm saying take it away and build a,
So the old town hall, because when we talked about it pre-COVID, it was gonna cost millions of dollars to upgrade it. All ADA compliant, elevators, everything. So that's what the,
I don't know.
Right.
So you're
That's what they
saying
were talking about at the time.
2022 was not pre-COVID. So
no, we-
2022, there was a meeting, and in that meeting, there was, you guys approved to go ahead with the feasibility study.
I'm going back,
They were looking for an art center and something else.
So I don't know, was that ever done? And it's,
that was right when COVID was going on, so we walked to the building. But it was gonna be.
Okay, so right now, since the October 2022 meeting, nothing has happened with that building, either by CPC or anybody else, right? So that,
Nothing that's been done to the building now, so.
no, nothing has been discussed since then about what to do with that
There's been no
building.
feasibility, there's no money set aside for it, there's no budget.
They put all that money towards Madeira's farm, CPC.
Oh, I got no problem with that, it's just, they decided to do a feasibility, disbanded the committee, and then, okay, so it's a discussion to be had.
Yeah.
What the town needs to have in the future, some people, even though they voted down the fire station down, on School Street, I don't know if it was because of the price tag, the location, or whatever, but communications was supposed to be added in there because committee agreed that communications needs more room.
I'm
So,
not sure the people voted on the Southern Fire Station.
No,
I think the board
the
stopped.
board
project
stopped
from
it.
Going forward.
Yes.
The board voted.
yes.
yeah, you're right.
It
You
wasn't,
are right.
people did not.
You're right, it didn't go. So, because for whatever reason, it's a discussion to be had, because some people still believe we need a South End Fire Station and communications needs a building, not necessarily,
I think everybody on the
Same.
board would agree that we need something fire station. The issue was, I think at the time, was discussion of staffing.
Right.
And how we're going to afford that staffing to fit the building, to outfit the building. I mean,
It was the number one issue. It was the number one issue when that committee was formed to begin with. It was still remained the number one issue after.
okay, well,
So how about the school administration building? And I know that one's condemned. You would drive by it, it's got all the big red X's all over.
yeah, that was
it,
the,
so-
where they wanted to put the South
Right,
End Fire
but
Station.
that's not going forward. So how long do you leave a building that's got X's all over it standing? Like, how do we move forward with that? That's obviously gonna come down.
That, that building's gotta come down. I'm not,
You gotta fill it up, fill in, the basement.
Right,
We,
so,
we've done the abatement test as part of the South End Fire Station, so we've got that. So now it's just a matter of getting a quote for the removal, no demolition.
and I can pretty much guarantee you, we're not too far away from Covent Street Fire Station being condemned either.
Well, 624 Taunton Avenue.
Yeah,
What?
Say that
624 Taunton Avenue. I worked in
Those are
that
those are the
building.
concerns that I have from a public safety standpoint.
Mhm.
We have town-owned buildings that are condemned,
Yeah.
that we're leaving up and open.
Mhm.
And, everybody knows the situation across the Commonwealth where people are living on the street. They'll be living in those buildings pretty soon. If anybody doesn't believe me, take a ride.
You don't want a building that is got big red X's all over it that you already have condemned. Somebody could move it into that thing.
Exactly. We already had 2 people get hurt there.
So basically, School Street demolition,
Which wasn't.
We tried
wasn't
every
money
way to figure out
approved?
ways to demo that back.
When we originally did the South End Fire Station, wasn't there money approved for demolition?
It was all inclusive.
All inclusive of the
budget, yeah, the budget was a little bit higher, came in higher than we anticipated,
Okay.
so.
But maybe-
The abatement process was done, so we
Yes.
know.
Yeah, now you can, we can, we couldn't.
So now it's just a quote for the demo,
Yeah.
we're good.
And the remediation prior to.
Yeah.
Yep.
so I think we've got a consensus on that building,
Okay,
but what
good.
about the other buildings? Okay, is County Street
But I would
still
just
being
have
used
to-
for storage?
Well, I guess, can we, on School Street, I would just have to get a quote for the demo.
No, I know that, but we are all, I think, all on the same consensus that that's what needs to be done there.
Right, so
Right.
then what I would do is try to get a quote, get it on a warrant article, for
Right.
fall town meeting.
That sounds good to me.
Agreed.
Okay, so we agree on that building. County Street isn't condemned though, right?
No.
Is it still being used for storage?
Cold storage.
Yeah, cold storage, but it's still being
Yes.
used for storage, and 624 Taunton Avenue is being used for nothing. But that's not condemned, is it?
We all know what the structural integrity is of the building. And as Mr. Alves had also just raised, I think there was some question as to what it is.
So, okay, I'll ask a stupid question. How do you condemn a building?
Building commissioner has to
Yeah,
go
to
through it.
go out there.
Ta-da, you're a building commissioner. Another job to do. No, we might as well. Have them, if that, School Street, we've got straight.
But we're not looking to demo that, right?
We're not looking to
In
demo
my-
what?
I gave you my opinion on both Taunton Avenue and County Street. I think we should get them out and get them sold. And if whoever goes there, we have affordable housing go there to help with that situation in the town. I think that's the best option for us right now.
So do you wanna put it on an article for the warrant to sell those 2 properties?
But I think before we have to do it, we have to clarify your issue about the old town hall. To make sure it's not a lease, purchase, sale,
Oh,
or.
yeah.
And then I think the other part, as I'm thinking back, was that we had also considered the County Street property, because the value, there was a question in terms of what the overall value was. And would that be a potential donation with the Habitat for Humanity, because they were knocking on our door about that time and they were eyeing up that property. And I think there was, after some research on it, the cost to demo the building and then remediate, because there was some question in terms of what was already there on that property.
Mhm.
It was gonna be too expensive for what they wanted to be able to do there. Which brings us back to, okay, so now we had it, and I think, as I recall, I know that there was a business owner about a year and a half ago that was interested in purchasing it, but they had done some quick homework and also had similar concerns in terms of the structure of the building, having to done it, remediate, get the property ready to do what they wanted to do on it. So I think if we're, with some careful research, we may find out that we're holding on to that County Street property, but that's gonna be very quickly looking like School Street. We're gonna have a building that's condemned and could be a mess. So.
But Old Town Hall, so I'll just get back to that, so I want to make sure that the direction is clear. So I'll clarify where we stand. I'll get an opinion from legal as to whether or not it would require, if we're looking to dispose of the property, whether or not it requires town meeting vote again. But I also need to check with Mr. Alves, because I know there was CPC monies that were attached to that building. I know there was a roof that was put on. So there may be restrictions in terms of whether or not that can even get demoed and whether or not we're looking to demo that. Because I think originally the intent was trying to, from a historical standpoint, maintain
Save
that
it,
building,
yeah.
right? So I just want to make sure we're just all on the same page of what that looks like. But I'll stop first with getting the lease or the PNS that we had. and confirming it with legal and bring it back to the board.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yep, everybody good with them? Vacant buildings? Is
What was
that
the
you had
decision
on?
on the animal shelter now?
It wasn't.
That was the.
Oh, yeah.
We're 3 for 4 right now.
All right. Oh, yeah, the old animal shelter. What's it being used for?
Communication storage.
Storage.
Have you been in it?
I got about this far inside the door.
1 point, Chris.
So if you recall, the plan was to take off the roof, keep the footing and the foundation, put a new steel structure on it, and we'll put bathrooms and maybe some garage doors in the front, to get some of the cars out of the weather. That's what the initial plan was for phase 2 or 3 or whatever it was of the playground.
Timing up to the playground.
Right.
Yeah.
Given the playground bathrooms.
We all actually had. drawings and everything.
Unless something's changed in the last 2 years, it was used for storage and it was rodent infested to say the least.
Right.
So unless anything's changed since then, I'd be,
But we don't have any money allocated to renovate that building into bathrooms
No.
or garage or anything like that.
No, but I think Scott at the time had drawings given to us about what the design would look like, and that was just not
Just conceptual.
conceptual, yeah.
Yeah, but that'd be nice to see because I wasn't on the board then because I don't know what you're talking about, so there you go. But that's good. It was to basically reuse it,
Right,
redo it, and
make a storage for garages and bathrooms,
that's not a bad deal.
that's what they were thinking of.
And what you say, Mike, communications? No. Okay, so we got all 4 of them discussed for now. We'll get some more information on that. North End fiber optics update.
Yep, so we had a meeting on August 21st, essentially a kickoff meeting to figure out what we needed to do to begin the project. So we issued a purchase order for the fiber spool. That's a 8 to 10 week lead time on that. So once we get that, we've got to identify a staging area as well for overnight vehicles, storage of the fiber. So we've identified that potentially we could use 45 Woodland Ave, which is our tower site, radio tower site for that. And then once we get the supplies in, we'll have a kickoff meeting to really identify the actual start date of the project.
Who does the work?
Contract, so they handle all of fiber.
Okay, do you have anything else?
That's all I got.
Okay. Board of Selectmen liaison reports and comments, account payable warrant signed, 540 Arcade Avenue Building Committee report. We are in the queue to put up the phase 2 placard, and I'll let you know when that happens. Because right now, everything is going great, so you people should stop by. You could have had a barbecue today, but that's okay. You could have Mr. Kadim serve you today. He did the serving today. Everybody was happy. The police fire department, cooked out outside hot dogs, hamburgers, potato salad, chips, cookies. And there was about 40 people there. Everybody had a good time. They had a good time because they wouldn't go home. You just wouldn't go home. They had fun. Then they had an hour of music by a gentleman, Stephen Rowe, I believe his name is, and he was pretty good. He's been there before. It was nice to see everybody show up. TV9 liaison, do you have?
So we've since we've had a review of the documents, it's been passed over to TV9 folks for review. They've had it here, I guess, for a couple of weeks. They've sent us a couple of questions back and forth, so that's in process. But nothing has been finalized yet, so.
But you're still working on it.
Still working,
Excellent.
still working.
Bristol
Good.
County Advisory Board.
Nothing new. We had that meeting back in August and they said the next one will be in November.
Madeira's Farm Committee report?
Okay, progress is moving here. At the last meeting, we had viewed some rough idea of conceptuals. There was 2 public hearings that were scheduled, however, it now appears the first one, which was scheduled for the end of this month, is likely to be rescheduled because it was scheduled on the same night as one of the school events. So they didn't want to hold that. They are going to hold 2 public hearings in order to get public input on concepts and what people are looking to see from the site, albeit from athletic use to community gardens to, do you want a band shell? Do you want more trails? What are you looking for, right? And including, and there were some good ideas thrown out about in terms of how to preserve some of Seekonk's old farm culture, using and having farm equipment there. When we do with the renovating of some of the buildings, which we can do, some of which you cannot. So stay tuned. We do have to get that first public hearing. It sounds like it's going to be rescheduled. So once that does, we'll get the announcement out. But things are moving along, and some of the conceptual drawings are pretty exciting to see what really can become. So crown jewel for not just Seekonk, but the area.
Cool. Seekonk Public Library feasibility study building assessment.
So last week, they completed the work, a week before they completed the work for assessing the foundation. And now they're just waiting to get the funding. But so far, there's been no update.
And no report
No
on that?
update, no update as to when it'll be ready. The report.
Okay, any comments, Mr. Sullivan?
None, thank you.
Chris? Mr. Zoll? Ms. Pokey?
Yes, the traffic box, as I'm sure everybody has seen, has been completed. It's painted. Mr. Ray's did a wonderful job. We got some pictures up on the town's website as well as up on the Facebook page. And so just again, thanks to both our contestants and to Mr. Ray's for our winner in doing the work. I have one more other item. A resident has asked, if possible, if we could maybe put something in the reporter as to how people can watch these meetings. If it's, I don't know, a little article or blurb or whatever, saying how you get on, is it Facebook or whatever it is that people can use to see the meetings.
Oh, the Seekonk
Yeah,
report?
just put it in the reporter.
Okay, Mr. Healy?
I don't know.
You don't have anything? Okay, the only thing I have is I've seen a lot online about this disgusting bug here, the lanternfly, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people are reporting it on Facebook and can't connect, but not call, I hope, let's say this, I hope they're calling the number that is down here to report these beauties. I haven't personally seen any myself. Remember, you can squish them, you can use sticky bands, traps, you can shop vac them up. If you put them in your shop vac, you have to leave them there for 2 days. You can use pesticides. The pesticides is something you'd have to question how you want to do that. They did say something on the website about late summer swarming. So I would consider now late summer, so I would watch for them. I personally have not seen any of them, but people online and connected have been saying they have, so make sure you report it to this phone number here. And okay, everybody's good? Okay, I take 7:19. I take a motion to adjourn at 7:19 PM till our next board meeting on Wednesday, September 18th, 2024 at 6 PM to enter into executive session to reconvene an open session for potential contract approval. For A, executive session pursuant to general law, chapter 38, subsection 21A3 to discuss litigation strategy in the case of International Paving Corp. et al. v. Town of Seekonk, CA number 123CV10881-PBS, if discussing the matter in the open session will have a detrimental effect on the town's litigating position and the chair so declares. And B, to conduct strategy sessions respect to negotiations with the executive assistant to the Board of Selectmen Town Administrator per Mass General Law, Chapter 38, subsection 21A2, as having the discussion in open session would be detrimental to the litigation or bargaining position of the town.
So moved, Michael Healy.
Second, Justin Sullivan.
Michael Healy, aye.
Pam Posey, aye.
Justin Sullivan, aye.
Chris Moore, aye.
Michelle Hines, aye, unanimous. Thank you and good night.
No,
Aye.
I
Did you have something for us tonight?
just had a question. I
That you-
actually left a message for the town administrator earlier today.
Okay,
So, I'm representing Faith Christian Center.
okay.
My name's Gary